Guys, what if I told you that you can get 23% increase in your business without spending a penny or processing another new patient? And there is probably 4 ways only that you can improve this one thing, LTV, which is what I want to discuss in this video. The whiteboard is back. My promise for 2026 was to become the content king so I can provide a ton of value for clinic owners and clinicians who want to be the best, who are refusing to be average. And why do I have the confidence to say I can help you? Well, because I'm in my late 30s now. I have provided financial freedom for myself and my family. And the reason why I've done that is because we provide a ton of value for the marketplace, which is patients. We know how to get new patients. We know how to keep patients well. We know how to provide an incredible, consistent service through an incredible team that we have, close to 20 people now, full time. And now it's time to share. And because I wish someone was documenting what they were doing when they were building their practice from 0 to 7 figures. And because I didn't get that when I was younger, now I want to share that with you guys. Now, this one might be a video that you don't feel comfortable with because you think, good Lord, I don't do any of this stuff. Well, good. You can choose not to do anything and carry on living life the way you are, or you can actually make a difference to your family, to yourself, to the team that you work with, and most importantly, to the patients that you serve. So, lifetime value. I kind of dislike the term, so we're going to kind of scrub it. And the reason why I dislike it is it has an association with I'm seeing a patient for a lifetime, or it's all about how much I squeeze out of them. And honestly, if you work with people who are incredible in their career, you know it's not. It's all about providing something that is consistent, but it's also not doing a disjustice to your patients that they're leaving after 3 visits because you couldn't be bothered to understand the importance of retention and the importance of what moves the needle. So I want to share with you some of the tips that I shared with my private clients, and I'm going to be using the whiteboard to illustrate that retention. Write this one down if you're watching or if you're listening. Retention is cheaper than acquisition. Retention is cheaper than acquisition. I've made some notes here of my actual data from 2025 for my own practice. And the difference between a clinic that doesn't stress out about new patients, that operates from a place of abundancy, is not new patients. Is the difference between, and you have to excuse me, imagine you have a sand dune and you're trying to build your house, your foundations on sand versus a solid concrete block, and I can build my skyscraper that way. The difference is huge. But what that means in terms of your life, your clinic, is if you build your practice on sand and you have 1 month of not seeing enough new patients, 1 bad month of revenue, you're starting to panic. You're starting to wonder, do I need to let half the team go? What has happened to the marketplace? Oh my goodness, my Facebook ads did not work. When I did our annual check, let me share some numbers with you to understand the difference between lifetime value that really looks after your patients long term and constantly relying on new patients. Our average visit spend for 2025 per client was £44.20 to be exact. Our PVA, as a practice, bearing in mind we have 2 clinicians that are very new and some clinicians who have been with us for a while, but the PVA for our practice for the time given of January to December 2025 was 19. Therefore, on average, a client spends £840 with us. I'm not going to apologize for those of you watching the video if you're not comfortable with money. Your problem, not mine. You need to understand that this is just a number that reflects the service and the value that you create for the marketplace. We do a lot. If you come and see our clinic, you'll be shocked to see that we probably practice more similarly than differently, but the systems, the procedures, the processes, everything is much more streamlined. Now, this is 2025. Check this out. If I was to leverage LTV, and there's only 4 ways you can do that, and we're going to discuss how to change that for your practice, but for 2026, if I was to just change a couple of things, one of them might be average spend per visit to go literally from 44.20 to 46. Not much, less than a coffee. For my PVA to go from 19 to, let's say we want to get it just to 24. There's literally like 5 visit difference. My average annual spend per client, bearing in mind we have hundreds and hundreds of patients, is from £840 to 1104. That is close to a 23% increase without having 1 extra new patient. A you go and you spend thousands of pounds on Google PPC and Facebook ads and leads and start stressing about it, and by the way, I'm not saying you shouldn't do marketing. I'm just saying that a lot of the clinics we work with, before we work with them and we do these audits, and I still do the audits with every single clinic myself, because I need to make sure that when we have the mastermind people, our private members, that they feel confident that the group is full of value. So I have to filter those people who just are not a good fit, and that's okay. Maybe it's not a good fit. That's fine. We're not judging. But if we were to increase how the standard of the profession is, how chiropractic is communicated and delivered to clients, you have to understand that you cannot just run like a fish and chip shop. You run a business. One of my chiropractors a few weeks ago said on one of our meetings, she said, you know what, it's made me realize, practicing with you guys, how important and how much accountability and how much responsibility we carry as health professionals to look after our patients as best as we can. Yes, we do. We do. The number of clinics that I've observed that a clinician would just get chucked in the room and kind of say, hey, do what you've got to do, without systems, without procedures, without operational, we call it framework, is beyond this world, and it kills me. So yes, my mission is to make sure you guys are educated enough to understand that running a practice and seeing a patient are two very, very different skill sets. And that's why people pay us the big bucks, is to identify and structure for themselves, what does that actually look like? What does it look like on a Monday? How do I show up as a leader compared to, feeling a little bit sort of inspired and motivational and after a fluffy seminar that they attended? So this stuff is so important, and no one teaches that. And it kills me, because when I was lucky enough to land on an amazing job, an amazing mentorship, and I've invested hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of personal development stuff to understand this stuff. And now you guys get it for free. So this is my soft call to action. If you like these videos, just hit that subscribe button, because I've noticed that 80% of the people that watch these videos haven't subscribed. The more videos we can show to people, the more value I can provide for you, the more I can share the message and have this ripple effect. So 23% increase in your revenue without seeing one extra new patient next year. Just being able to understand the 4 levers. Okay, there are 4 things that shift lifetime value of clients, and we'll talk about each one of those individually. The first one, let's change pens so you guys can see better. The first one is, and there's some coaches and consultants that do a really good job at showing you that this is one of the easiest ways to increase value. Whether it's right or wrong, I'm not here to judge, but it's obviously increasing price. So how much does it cost for a patient to buy your service? This is a tough one. I work with some clinics that definitely undervalue themselves, and I work with some clinics who think that they're premium, but actually they put a lot of people off before they even book a consultation. So these people would have been able to be helped by the practice, but there's just such a big, what we call, barrier to entry. So those people don't even book an appointment with the chiropractor or the clinician because it's just so expensive. That's okay. That's how, if this is how they decided to run their practice. I'll actually go into this one first, and then we'll go into second, third, and fourth. But the practice is called price structuring. And there's 1,000,001 ways you can do that. Whether you do it annually, so sometimes clinics decide to raise their prices every single year, you have to understand how to communicate that with your patients and why are you doing it. So you can have very lazy price increases that are not ethical and not communicated properly with your patient base, and that can basically mean that you seem as scammy, as salesy, and is not ethical. And yes, people should leave you if that's how you want to operate. However, if you're increasing the prices when you are increasing the value that you provide for your patients, that could be through, I don't know, you're investing in the software that gives them exercises that tracks their progress. You might be building a rehab center to actually have hands-on with patients. This is what we did. We've built a rehab center, and our patients go through rehab programs. We have sports massage therapists that add additional value to our service. We have shockwave therapy and foot orthotics and acupuncture and dry needling and supplementation. All these things increase how patients get results. So do not increase your prices for the sake of increasing your prices, because you're not building a sustainable business that is ethical and it provides value for your patients. Yes, you might make more money year 1, but who cares if you're not here in 10 years' time? That you're building something incredible, right? So you've got to be really mindful of the price increase. Second point of leverage. By the way, guys, if you're enjoying these videos, please let me know in the comments what exactly you finding helpful and what would you like me to help you with, because the mission is to raise the profession. I want to work with 1,000 clinics in the UK to get them to £100,000 a month, because I know that that doesn't reflect how good you are with money, it reflects how much value you provide to the marketplace. And that will technically put you in a top 1% clinic owners. And I want to work with cool people that want to do cool stuff and help lots and lots of people along the way. So that's my mission. If you like these videos, okay, tell me you like them. Second one, which is the biggest one. In fact, it's so big that I'm currently organizing a workshop where we'll spend 2 hours hands-on with clinic owners trying to help them with that. And that, of course, is clinic retention. Retention means how long do people stay with you? What's your belief system about maintenance, about preventative care, about wellness? And that's, again, I cannot answer that question for you guys, but it's probably the biggest multiplier in your practice. It's not the number of new patients you're going to get, it's what's your retention like. Clinics, and you study them and you identify the numbers, you realize that patients don't stop care because it doesn't work. And a lot of times it actually works and they stop care. They stop because they don't see it working. Let me repeat that. Patients don't stop care because it's not working. Patients stop care because they don't see it working. And what I mean by that is, if you don't have a systematic, structured way to take a patient from here, let's say this is point A, to here, and let's say this is point B, and you have a clear, systematic, predictable, visual way on how you're going to get them from point A to point B, and the process it takes to get you from here to here, they will at some point forget the reason for them visiting, especially if you have an associate-based model. Because if I'm just running a clinic myself, it's actually very easy to be busy, to be doing really well. But when you have more moving parts to your practice, with CAs, with managers, with clinicians, with multiple services, it's super difficult. And that's where this stuff comes in very, very handy. So most people churn because there is a lack of perception of progress. And as human beings, that, by the way, that doesn't mean you have a bad service. It means there's lack of perception in the way patients progress. And as human beings, as Tony Robbins says, this is not my quote, this is in order for you to have meaning in life in general, you have to have a sense of forward motion. I need to be able to understand that I'm progressing and I'm on the right track. And if you're not communicating that or haven't got a way to communicate that with your patients, you're going to lose the game of retention. Simple as that. And by the way, I can teach you 1,000,001 strategies and tactics on how to increase patient retention because it's such a big multiplier. But obviously a lot of it is how we, it might take you 6 months. So there's only so much I can teach in these videos. If you want to reach out, give me a shout and I'll be more than happy to jump on a call with you and to see if it's the right fit. Point number 3. So far, we have price structuring, improving retention. Point number 3 is repeated purchases. By the way, this is a funny one because technically we're selling health. So if I don't know, let's say I've got my iPad here and I want to buy another Apple product, I go on their website and I make the purchase because they have a trusted brand. But it's different when you are providing a service. And funny enough, when you do health stuff and we talk about money, a lot of clinic owners find it very uncomfortable. And again, these are just limiting beliefs that you might have to do some training on yourself and you have to dig deep as to why that is. But if you truly believe that patients, our most important job is to inform the public what's the truth, get them better, and educate them in a way that they can look after themselves and you can help them along the way to stay well, then are we failing patients if they leave after 4 visits? I don't know. It's just an answer for you guys to ask yourself and figure out your answer. But one of the biggest things when it comes to repeated models is, who nowadays wants to book an appointment every time they come in? Who wants to pay every time they come in? Who wants to not have like automations and reminders? But life is busy. People want easy. People are actually willing to pay more money for convenience. I know I truly do, and you might agree with me. People want convenience and ease of making a decision, especially when it comes to like booking appointments and having automated systems and having something in advance where they know when they're coming in. It gives them the, like, I don't have to be doing this every single time if I watch a movie. I don't want to be purchasing the movie every single time. I don't want to be like paying per movie or making it. No, I want to go on Netflix. It's a monthly subscription, and that's what we call MRR. Monthly Recurring. If you're looking to optimize your business, and if you're looking to sell your business one day, if if you're looking to maybe slow down and one of the associates to jump in and be a business, whatever it is, your business will have very little value if you haven't figured out a way to have MRR. We teach, because we have 5 clinics, and actually in every single clinic I see the same thing, is if you have what's called a centric number to aim for, and you have a way to incentivize the whole team towards that number, everyone wins. The client wins because you keep them well. They don't have to worry about booking appointments every single time they come in. They don't have to worry about paying every single time they come in. You go to Virgin Active, you go to David Lloyd, they're not going to say to you, oh, so how would you like to pay? And oh, this is the monthly and this is the pay as you go up. No, it's like, hey, it's 100 quid a month. You're a member and you either like it or you don't, and that's okay. But that's a very clear distinction between someone being on a monthly recurring revenue, so membership, versus everything in between. And if someone buys once and they disappear, you definitely have a marketing problem, because all you worry about all the time is, oh, I need new patients. If they stay and they pay monthly and you truly provide a good thing for the patient, then it's an asset to the business. So this is something that we've worked very hard to get right and still working and still redefining. So that's point number 3 is, do you have a form of repeated purchases, monthly recurring revenue? And the final point of this video for today is, once there is a repeated purchase of your service because they like it and it truly is something valuable that solves a big problem, the final 4th point is, what other services can you help patients with or introduce in your practice so it solves more problems? This is one of my favorite topics, by the way, and actually, if you guys are watching this, I'll put a link in the description if you want to not debate is not the word, if you want to discuss further how my clinic does very well financially, and we found ways to what's called vertical scaling, how to add more value to the business that actually helps patients. Because everything I talk about, whether you like it or not, is true. And everything I talk about, if you actually strip it down to its core fundamentals, has this formula, which is the winning triangle. It's the win for the patient. It has to be a win for the practice, otherwise you're just stressing out about money and you can't afford to even pay your staff. And it's a win for your team. And every angle has to have the same value. So you cannot just keep taking away from your team, expecting them to be amazing. You can't just keep taking away from patients, expecting them to do well and to recommend you. And you can't be like a charity where everything is free and you give everyone huge pay bonuses, but the business actually struggles and then you can't reinvest. So every single strategy I talk about, and I have done since day one, is based on this practice peak model, which is win for the client, win for the team, and win for the clinic. And that's what we call sustainability. So in order for us to offer more services, I need to know what's proven medically to work. What does the research say? Should I be recommending Reiki versus homeopathy versus medical dry needling? Well, for me, I know what the answer is. Should I be recommending hypnotherapy versus shockwave therapy? The answer for us was very clear. Should I be recommending sports or deep tissue massage therapy at least a minimum level 4 qualification? Or should I be recommending, I don't know, a plastic Chinese tool that I can teach the patient how to use on their upper traps? Again, very clear. And these other purchases we call ascension pathways, which means the patient, imagine this is a mountain of health and this is them like being their very best self here. You have to excuse my drawings. If this is the top of the mountain and they start here when they first see you, and let's say you start with Cairo and you're ascending to the next level and they feel amazing, why don't you have something else to offer that also sits well with you? It's also proven to work in the medical field, and it's a great additional service. Because every time you offer something that the patients truly benefit and it's good for them, and you've done a great job so far, they're going to buy. Do you have like multidisciplinary wellness packages? And I don't want you to think I'm just going to add anything I can think of from the shelf and turn my company to an Amazon. That's not the point. The point is, and I can give you 1,000,001 examples. Go and watch previous videos on how we've implemented massage in our practice and rehab and shockwave and how well we do with it, because patients do well and they like it. But one thing to be clear on this is also, as good as it is, it can also create a bottleneck for business owners, which adds complexity to the business. And very often when it comes to scaling, let's say you want to go from 50K a month to 100K a month, or from 25K a month to 70K a month, half the time it's not about adding more services is about deletion. Is deleting complexities and making the process simple and simplifying the heck out of your practice. So it's predictable, it's consistent, it gives the patient's results and gives your practice results. Guys, I can talk for hours and hours and hours. We have this lifetime value flywheel concept that I share with my private peak members, and every one of these strategies that we discussed from 1 to 4, we go deep. I wouldn't be making these videos if I wasn't trying to actually influence you in a positive way. And what I mean by that is I want to ethically bribe you to show you that there's so much value that you're leaving on the table, and that this industry that we call chiropractic is one of the best health services we can provide for patients. But I don't know if we don't care, I just don't think we know enough on what levels you can operate at. So this is my ask. If you liked these videos and if you listened to me for the last 20-30 minutes and you think, you know what, the worst thing I can do is not do anything, but the best thing I can do is have a chat with Stefan and see what he thinks about my practice, what's missing, let's jump on the call. I offer these clinic audits, like a strategy call, for about an hour. It's me doing them. If you don't like me by the end, that's fine. I'll still respect you for choosing not to sit on the fence. But if you've been listening to me banging on about this every single week and you're not doing anything about it, I promise you there is they call this in business the third door. There's a third door that you did not even know it existed in how amazing your practice can be. So have a look in the description below. I hope you guys found this video helpful. Love and appreciate you all. Bye. Till next time.